two of the most important parts of the game, my friend. Knowing how to bend the ball and knowing how to make the ball drop. The good old whip and dip. Let's go. So you want to create some bend on your shots. What to do first? Well, all of the principles apply in a normal shot. The first thing, take a few steps back. You don't need a massive run up. Between 4 to 6 steps, that's all you need. After that, make sure you're angled out at the side, okay? Because if you're running straight on, it's gonna be very hard to create all of that whip that we're gonna talk about. Next, your foot, your plant foot, right next to the ball, just like when you go to take a normal shot, everything else applies. Now, how to create that massive whip, okay? That comes from the hip. I just made a rhyme. You're welcome. Bend comes from your hip, and if you really want to create that, you have to swing everything over, all right? What it means to create whip from the hip is that your hip, your shooting hip must move. It's gonna end up on the opposite side, all right? By just kicking the ball with your leg, you're only gonna create that spin, but you will create no whip. That is not how you score, all right? If you want to score, if you want to make these long passes, especially when we're starting to talk about what Modric does with the outside of his foot, that has to be done with your hip. You cannot create any sort of bend without that. So that is the very first thing you have to know. It's from the hip, not from the leg. Recap, 4 to 6 steps, out at an angle, make sure to use your hip. Now, where to strike the ball, that's what comes next. We're gonna talk a little bit about dipping, but for now, when we're trying to whip and bend the ball, you guys, you've got to hit it out here on this side, okay? Or on this side if you're right-footed, whipping it back this way. If you hit it in the middle, you're gonna have something else completely different happen, and that's not what you want. Imagine you do all of those things. Well, the one thing that is going to change your ability to whip the ball like a pro is the amount of power that you get within this shot. And you get that from your follow through. If you really want to get some power on your bend, you have to have the proper follow through. That means you're going to leave your foot. You're going to leave and then follow through, all right? Look at guys like Beckham, one of the greatest free kick takers, one of the best passers of all time. When he steps up to take his shot, you can see he's off at an angle. He even has a strange run up where he runs like this in a curve, all right? But when he hits that ball, his hip goes swinging, all right? And that's how he creates the power. And that's the same thing that you can do. And of course, now, if you want to get some dip on that, we've got something for you. Crossbar. Now, those of you probably want to know how to create dip. Now, that is a bit more complicated than creating the whip, okay? That's why it's whip plus dip equals baller, okay? That's math. When you dip the ball, you have to hit it here, all right? Here or here. The person who is going to show you how to do that perfectly, watch David Luiz. This guy, he could probably dip a pineapple, okay, if he wanted to. You've got to strike the ball here. Everything else applies that we talked about, except for the fact that you don't want to swing your hip to one side. You want to simply keep things straight. Hit the ball at the lower part of the ball. That's going to create this whip, okay? So when you follow through, instead of crossing your body over as if you want to send it to there, you simply keep it straight. That's how you create that dip. Train, 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 okay? It's all gonna sound perfect in theory. There's a guy telling you how to do it, but until you get on the field and practice all these steps over and over again until they get into your subconscious, it won't work. That's the vid. You know what to do. Leave us a like, comment down below. Check out all the playlists and all the things, the gear, and all the stuff we have for you at Unisport. And of course, get yourself some whip and dip whenever you can. I mean, I would order whip and dip, but I'm pretty sure that J-Mike is still eating all of my food. So no whip and dip for Will. See you later.